The next big topic of discussion here is working with pages inside your WordPress blog. And we've mentioned pages maybe once or twice so far already, but I just want to make sure that we really understand the fundamental differences between pages and posts inside our blog. So here's a few things for you to keep in mind. First of all, posts appear inside your blog loop. And don't forget, your blog loop is the chronological order of all of your posts all the way down your blog, right? That's the idea there. Now, where pages come in is pages are static. And they're not a part of your blog loop. They're not a part of your chronological order that all of your posts reside inside. So, in other words, pages reside outside of that chronological order. Imagine pages are exactly the same as posts, except they're not a part of that chronological loop, if that makes sense. So they sit outside of that loop. So how do you connect up to the pages that you've created inside your blog? Well, you'd have to create links to those pages. The links can either reside inside the header area of your blog or possibly the footer area, maybe even the sidebar. And you can also link to your pages from within posts and vice versa, of course, right? So that's really the idea here. Posts are semi-regular blog updates, and pages are standalone content, like about pages or contact pages or perhaps product pages. That's really the idea here. Now, both posts and pages can include comments if you want. That's optional. But unlike posts, pages can't make use of categories or tags. Not by default anyway, but you can use plugins if you want with your blog to allow pages to make use of categories and tags. On the live portion of our blog, you'll notice here, if I scroll down just a little bit, that over on the right-hand side, underneath pages, we have our default About page. And if you want, you can go ahead and click on this guy, and that'll open up that specific static page, right? So again, pages are more static and rigid than your regular blog posts. And of course, there I can leave a reply for the page if I want to. Now, what I can do here as well is I'm going to flip into the back end of our WordPress blog, and I want to take a look at the back end of the About page that you and I were just looking at. So here's what I'm going to do. Over on the left-hand side, inside our menu here, go ahead and expand the Pages category, and then go ahead and click on Edit. Okay, now, inside the Edit Pages screen that appears here, there's our About page. And I'm going to go ahead and click on this fella here. And that, of course, will open up the static About page inside this Edit Page screen. And once again, my screen is pretty jammed up here, but I hope you get sort of the idea here. Let me just do this here. I'm just going to expand things out here a little bit. There we are, something like this. And you'll notice that this Edit Page screen here, this edit page view, is very, very similar to the screen that you and I have been working inside when we go and create our brand new posts or when we go and edit our posts, right? Not only in terms of the title across the top, the permalink and the toolbars that we have available and all of the options that we have there, but also in terms of the main body field there, and also the options that we have over on the right hand side. Now, some of the options here on the right are very familiar. The publish options, we can set our status and our visibility and so on, but we also have some other options here. We can set up something called page templates, which we'll talk about, and we can also set up page orders as well. So there are definitely some strong similarities here, but there's also some unique options here as well, which we'll definitely dig into next. Now, probably one of the first things that you'll want to do when you begin working with your static pages is you'll want to edit that default About page. And of course, that default About page comes with our fresh installation of WordPress. It gets added on to our fresh installation here. So let's talk for just a few minutes about customizing this page. Now, I've gone and navigated back to my dashboard here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to my About page. So I'll expand open the Pages category here on the left-hand side, and I'll click on Edit, and then, of course, back into the About page. Now, before I go ahead and click on my About page here, of course, you remember everything that we had talked about in here previously, right? If I hover over top of my page title, I get my links here, Edit and Quick Edit, and I can delete this page if I want, and I can view the page, and it tells me who the author is and when it was created and how many comments I have and so on and so on. Of course, a lot of the WordPress screens look very familiar and they all function in the same way, so hopefully no worries there. Okay, let's go and edit this guy here. Go ahead and click on About. Okay, now I'm getting a warning across the top here that I have an auto-saved version of this page. If I want to view the most recent version, I can head down to the version below, or I could view the auto-save. I'm not really going to worry about that because I'm going to make some changes here anyway. So what I'll do here is I'll just crank out my browser window here. And of course, what I could do at this point, if I wanted to, is I could head into this main body area here. I could select all this text and delete it out. And of course, I could type in some fresh content. Welcome to my new blog, for example, something like this, and you could perhaps add in some graphics or even add in video, really, if you want. Really, everything that we saw when we were talking about working with posts and working with media, all of that applies here because we have access to our Upload Insert menu here, or buttons, I should say, across the top here, the audio and the video and the media and all that good stuff. So you can certainly make use of that if you want. We even have the kitchen sink toolbar as well. I must have left that on previously, so we can certainly make use of all of the options that we have available there as well. I'm going to go and turn my kitchen sink off, though. And you know, the other thing as well is as you're setting up your About page, you can work inside the visual editor if you want, or you can flip over to the HTML editor. So again, a lot of the stuff that we've already seen still applies to these static pages. So hopefully no worries there. So again, maybe I decide I want to craft a custom About page maybe in Dreamweaver. And then what I'll do is I'll take all that code and all that formatting and everything that I built and I'll copy it all and paste it all over into my HTML editor here, something like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to flip back to my visual editor. I want to go and get some text content from one of our sample text files. So give me a moment here. I'm just going to hide Firefox. You can minimize Firefox on your side there. And then down onto my desktop, I'm going to go and grab my project files folder. Pop that guy open. And do you remember this guy here, our first post.txt file? Go ahead and grab him, double click on him, pop him open, and let's take the content that we have inside this file here, select it all, and we'll drop it into our About page. So select all this text here and copy it, Command-C here on the Mac, of course, Control-C on the Windows side, and we can close out of that guy and close our folder. And give me a moment here, I'll flip back to Firefox. You can head back to your browser as well. And all I'm going to do is I'll get rid of that, sort of that dummy text that I had typed in there with you just a moment ago. And I'll go ahead and paste Command-V or Control-V if you're on the Windows side there, of course. And there's my content. And then as I say, at this point, if you want to add in some graphics or add in some media, go right ahead. What I'm going to do here is I'll click down at the very bottom of my post and I'll just hit Enter here. And I'm going to go and insert a graphic. So I'll click on my Add an Image icon here up on my Upload Insert toolbar. Go ahead and click on that guy. Give me a moment here as I get things organized. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to add something in here from the media library. So I'll pop this guy open, and maybe it's this first guy here. Remember our original droid cartoon that you and I had used. So again, here I'll click on Show. I'm sure you remember how to do all of this from our previous exercises. The alignment, I think I'll set this guy to the center. And I'll bring them in at full size, insert into post. Go ahead and click on that. There's our graphic. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and update my page now, update the About page, just as if we were updating a post, right? Across the top of the interface, I can see that our page has been updated. You can go ahead and click on View Page if you want, or I still have my Preview tab open inside my browser, so I'll head back there and I'll refresh, Command-R or Control-R if you like. And sure enough, there's our new About page with that graphic. And I went and forgot about that. Remember that graphic size? We had to shrink him down. So I'll leave that up to you if you want to go back and shrink your graphic. I'll go and re-shrink down or resize my graphic in just a moment. But there you go. More importantly, there's editing that default About page. Now, of course, not only can you edit that default about page, but you can go ahead and create your own custom pages as well. And you know, I have all kinds of custom pages that I've created for the various blogs that I run. A lot of times I'll create my own custom Contact Us page, which is what you and I will do in just a moment. Or oftentimes I find myself creating pages for products, perhaps, that are being sold online, or sometimes even individual contests, or any kind of a situation where I want to add content to my blog, but I don't want to have it in that blog loop, that blog chronology, right? I don't want to interrupt that chronology, right? Have something standalone. So I'm sure you can think of lots of different situations where you'd like to create a standalone static page. All right, so here's what we'll do. Underneath the Pages heading down inside the menu there, go ahead and click on Add New. And of course, that brings us into this Add New Page screen here. And again, we'll just scale things out here a little bit. And of course, just a gentle reminder here, we can use our visual editor or our HTML editor. I'm going to go with visual here. And of course, it's prompting me here for a page title as well. So as previously mentioned, I'm going to create a Contact Us page. You can, of course, name that Contact or Contact Us. I'm just going to go with Contact Us. And then I'll click down into the body area there. And in just a moment after I click down in that body area, of course, the permalink shows up as well. So you can see that sort of happening in there. That's going to be the link, the URL to this particular static page. So again, very similar to the links to our individual posts. Okay, now in this body area here, of course, I can do whatever I want. I could even do things like, well, I could create a set of fields, perhaps. You see this all the time, a field for someone's name, and then their email address, and then a field where they would type in their message, and then a submit button, something like that. You could create something like that from scratch if you want, or you could use an online email service if you want. That's usually what I wind up doing. But in any regard, I think what I'll do here for this exercise anyway is I'm just going to keep it nice and simple and straightforward. So what we'll do here is I'll type in a sort of an introduction sentence, and then we'll add in some contact info. So I'll type in, please feel free to contact us and ask us all about our blog and our work. And then I'll just hit enter here. Maybe what I'll do is I'll type in sort of the traditional street address, 500 Mary Lane in Jasper, Wisconsin. I have no idea if there's a Jasper, Wisconsin, by the way. There's our zip code, and I'll type in USA. Okay, great. And then perhaps below that, I'll type in an email address here, info@myblog.com if you want, or you can type in your own email address there. I'm going to leave it at that. Now, a couple of quick notes here, just while I'm typing this in here. Notice the spacing that I'm getting here, particularly in the address, the fictitious address that I included there. What I'm going to do instead here is I'm going to click after the street there, the 500 Mary Lane, and I'm just going to hit my delete key on my keyboard. And then rather than hitting a full enter, what I'll do is I'll hold down the shift key and hit enter. And what that will do is that will give me a line break rather than a full return or a full enter, if that makes sense. So you might know about this trick, but just kind of a neat thing you can do there anyway. Yeah, see if I can get this to work here for our last line. There, something like that. Now, it's giving me a bit of a challenge here, a bit of a hassle. There we are. That's what we're after. Okay, great. Now, the other thing that I wanted to mention as well, and you see this a lot, is a lot of times what people will do in their email address is they'll do something like that. They'll put some space in there, right? Or they might do something like this. Have you seen that before? Well, the reason why they do that is they don't want email harvester programs coming along and scooping up their email address and adding it to spam lists, right? So anyway, just something else that comes to mind there. So hopefully all good here. Now, I'm keeping this Contact Us page very, very simple, but again, you can really go nuts with your contact page if you want. Okay, now our publish options over on the right-hand side. Our status, draft, we can change that, of course. This is all exactly the same as we had seen with our posts, so I'm not going to go through all this stuff again, but we could, for instance, password protect an individual page if we wanted to, but again, I'm not going to bother messing around with that, but you can there. Publish immediately, or I can set a specific date there if I want to, but I'm going to go ahead and click on publish here, and now this page is now live on our blog. So let's go check it out. I'll hold down Control or Command, and I'll click on Visit Site. And down on the right-hand side there, if I scroll down a bit, underneath Pages, there's our Contact Us page added to our list of pages. I'll go ahead and click on that, and there's our static page inside our blog. So once again, you can add as many static pages as you want, and I hope you found that pretty straightforward, especially because you already know how to create posts. So as you saw earlier, creating pages is almost identical to creating posts. When we first began working with pages here in WordPress, I pointed out the differences between the static pages and the posts. And I also pointed out some of the differences that we see when we're actually creating our pages. Some of those options that we saw over on the right-hand side of the WordPress interface. And I want to show you a couple of neat things that you can do using those settings over on the right-hand side. And if you don't remember those settings, sit tight. We'll get to those in just a second. But more importantly, let me show you exactly what it is that I want to try and pull off. So I'm on my live blog right now, and I'll just scroll down here a little bit so we can see this right-hand sidebar here a little more clearly. And what I want to do here is the list of pages that we see underneath this pages heading there on the right-hand side. I want to try and control the order of the pages inside this list. And of course, if we had more pages, it would make even more sense. But by default, what we're going to get is a list of alphabetical pages. In other words, all of our pages are going to be sorted alphabetically here on the right-hand side. So I want to change that order, and I'm going to show you exactly how to do this. So to pull this off, what I'm going to do is I'll flip back over to the back end of our blog, and I'll head into the Pages area there of the menu on the left-hand side, and I'll click on Edit. Of course, there's the two pages that we have as a part of our blog. I'm going to go and edit the Contact Us page. So go ahead and click on that guy. And let's see here. I'm just going to scroll down. And those options that I was referring to on the right-hand side, that's these fellas here. We have the attributes, the parent, the template, and the order. So we'll take a look at each of these here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to start off with order, and it says here pages are usually ordered alphabetically, as I just discussed, but you can change the number above to control the order of your pages, essentially. So let me give this a try. Instead of using the default value of 0, I'm going to change that to 1. Okay, I'm going to scroll up here, and don't forget we have to update our post. Go ahead and update your page there, and I'll head back over. I still have my live tab open, my live blog open here. If you don't, go ahead and preview your live blog there, and we're going to have to refresh. Remember, Command-R or Control-R on the Windows side. And when I refresh, you'll notice that the page order didn't change on us. It still looks like it's in this alphabetical order here. So here's what's up with this. This is kind of interesting. Well, you know what? Let me show you this in the back end. So I'm going to flip back over to the back end of our blog. And our Contact Us page right now, if I scroll down, he has an order value of 1. Right? You and I just changed that not too long ago. I'm going to head back over to the left-hand side, and I'll click on Edit, and I'm going to go into the About page. Go ahead and pop open that About page now. And if I scroll down inside the About page, his page order is still set to 0. But if I go and change that to a different value, maybe I'll try changing this to 2, for example, and then I'll scroll up and I'll click on Update. Wait for that page to update there. Then let's see if this updates our live blog here. So head back to your live blog, refresh there, Command-R or Control-R, and then sure enough, there's the reverse page order happening there. So the reason why I kind of did it this way is I wanted to explain that lower values always appear above higher values. That's sort of the deal there. That's how it all works. So hopefully all good there. Okay, now I'd love to show you how to set up parent pages as well. So parent and child pages, almost this hierarchy arrangement here. So here's what I'm going to do. I want to set it up so that the Contact Us page appears as a nested entry inside the About page, just like we have Adobe and Flash. Remember we did that earlier with our categories. So how is this going to play out? Well, I'm going to head back to the back end of our blog. And before I actually go and set up this hierarchy, I'm going to scroll down here and I'm going to change my page order back to where it was. I'll type in 0 here. This is on our About page, and I'll click on Update. Wait for that to update there. And then I'll head back over to the left and I'll click on Edit. And I'm going to go and edit our Contact Us page, because it's the Contact Us page that I want to put as a sub-entry or as a child to the About page, right? Now, before I do that, I'm going to change his page order back to 0 as well. So I'm not messing with orders now. All my orders are back to their defaults. And then up towards the top here, we have Parent. You can arrange your pages in hierarchies. For example, you can have an About page that has Life Story and My Dog pages under it. There are no limits to how deeply nested you can make your pages. You can really go crazy here organizing your blog and your pages here. So I'm going to drop down this menu here, and of course I'm going to choose About, and let's update here. Wait for WordPress to catch up to us here. Head back to our live blog and go ahead and refresh your browser, and now Contact Us appears as a sub-entry inside the About page. Last but not least, here in our discussion on pages, I want to show you something called page templates. And the default Kubrick theme that we're using with our blog here supports 2 page templates: archives and links. And I'd love to show you each of these. I'd love to show you how these guys work. So what I'm going to suggest that you do is keep your live blog tab open inside your browser. If you went and closed it, no worries. But if you still have yours open, keep them handy, because we want to use this guy to preview our changes here. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to head back over to the back end of our WordPress blog. And then underneath the Pages heading over on the left, let's go and create a new page. So go ahead and click on Add New. The title of our page, I'm going to type in My Blog's Archives. Okay, now the important thing here is that you don't type anything into the body area of your page. We're going to get the template to actually do all the heavy lifting for us here. So here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to scroll down. And into this attribute module over on the right-hand side, we have template. Some themes have custom templates you can use for certain pages that might have additional features or custom layouts. If so, you'll see them above. In other words, in this drop-down menu. So again, the theme that we're using, we only have 2, archives and links. So of course, this guy is going to be for our archives. So go ahead and choose archives there. And then I'll scroll back up to the top, and let's go ahead and publish this guy. Go ahead and click on Publish there. All right, let's see what we get. So I'm going to go back to my live blog, and you can go ahead and refresh, Command-R or Control-R, and then underneath the Pages heading there on the right-hand side, we see My Blog's Archives. Go ahead and click on that guy. All right, now this is what we wind up with. Archives by month, February 2010, archives by subject, and there's all of our categories: Adobe, Flash, color, shapes, and of course that uncategorized. Pretty cool. So that's what a page template is. Now, don't forget, we still had that other template that we can use with this particular theme, the links template. So let's give that guy a try. So what I'll do here is I'll just back up inside my browser here. So I'm all the way back out to the top level of my blog. Let's head back to the back end of our WordPress blog, and we'll go and create another new page there from the left. And this time I'll call this guy My Blog's Links. Nice and generic there. Okay, once again, the trick for getting all this to work is to not type anything into the body area of your page. And then over on the right-hand side, I'll scroll down just a bit. Underneath template there, of course, this time we'll choose links. Okay, let's go ahead and publish this guy. And once this guy's published, we want to go and check out our results. Back over to our live blog. Go ahead and refresh, Command-R or Control-R. There's my page, My Blog's Links. And there we wind up with, remember that blog rule that's come up every once in a while during our time here together, and a list of all the links that we have included inside our blog. So there you go. There's working with those template pages, and there's working with pages as a whole here inside WordPress. I hope you can find a lot of this useful. Now, you know what's interesting is it's interesting that we left off on this links template with the blog role, because in the next chapter, we're going to be talking about creating and managing your blog role.